the Agorist Nexus podcast. I'm Brandon. I've got my great co-host Dag with me. How you doing, Dag?
I'm doing excellent, man. Been super busy getting ready for Float Fest.
Yeah, same here. I have so much stuff I've got to try to get done before I leave. Before I leave this weekend.
Yeah, get everything wrapped up, taken care of. Yeah, but it should be a good time.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I can't wait.
So before we get in and introduce our guest today, definitely a big shout out to our sponsors over at Presearch, Decentralized search engine, no spying, no censorship, really cool crypto coin that you get just by using it. So, be sure to check them out.
Yeah, and you can change between search engines too. So if there's something else you need, it's super easy and seamless. So really easy to change between, from the Presearch search engine to DuckDuckGo and on, and they even have like Float on there, which is cool. You can search Float within Presearch and a lot of other stuff too. So definitely check them out. But with that said, we've got the great Victor Koman of CoPub Co. with us today. We're always honored to have him on, and
happy to be here.
Yeah, he's got a project that I think we all want funded as Agorist, but I'll let him explain that. But first off, how you doing, Victor?
I'm doing great. Having a good time. I'm very pleased with the reaction that I'm getting from the GoFundMe fundraiser for the Agorist archives of Samuel Edward Konkin III. So it's good to know that there's support out there for it.
Yeah, I hope so. That's really good to hear because it's definitely a project worth every penny that we can get needs to go to it, so we can get these things digitized. Do you want to explain what you're trying to accomplish to our listeners?
Sure. Well, I was friends with Sam from 1974 or I guess 75 when he moved out to Los Angeles until 2004 when he passed away. So over the years, we shared a garage where we kept stuff, back issues of New Libertarian, and he'd accumulate writings and newspaper clippings as he's doing his research for counter economics. And when he moved, every now and then, it was sort of like, shedding his shell to move on. So I would inherit a box or 20 of, well, not 20, but several boxes of his notes and letters and old magazines and stuff. He also had a storage locker, which sadly he failed to pay the rent on, and that stuff is gone. I don't know where it went. Probably just got trashed or auctioned off by someone who was very disappointed to find all this libertarian stuff in it and not old comic books or something. So when he passed away, he had just prior, maybe a year or so prior, given me a couple of his Mac Power books and a spindle of DVDs, data DVDs, and again, more boxes of letters and stuff. So I've been sitting on them all these years, and I figured, why should I wait? I might as well do something. I mean, I guess the death of J. Neil Schulman and Brad Lineweaver within the course of a month last year was a real wake-up call. I mean, so many luminaries in the libertarian and science fiction field have been dying off. Some early, some of old age, but we're losing a lot of that. And I figured if something happened to me, nothing would be done with these papers. So my idea is to scan them all in and turn them into PDFs. In some cases, a lot of letters to Sam were handwritten, and so I would need to transcribe those just by reading them and typing them in. And then there's the videotapes that I took of the Agorist Institute in the 1980s, mid 1980s to early 1990s. Hosted a series of seminars, and a lot of them of Sam giving introductory courses to counter economics and discussing things like Revolutionary War profiteering and so on. So I've got that, and I've got audio tapes of other speeches he's given that also need to be turned into MP4s and made available. My idea is, with the GoFundMe would be to make this available to everyone on the archives.copubco.com subdomain. So that's what I'm going to be working on. And somebody came through, a gentleman in Texas, in Houston, named Derek Brose, donated $3,000 to kick it all off. So that will allow me to get the equipment I would need to start scanning in and making sure that anything that I scan in doesn't get lost to a hard drive crash or anything like that. So I'm going to have a RAID 6 NAS system, and I've already got the Final Cut Pro software and the Logic Pro Plus software. So I think I've got everything I need except an OCR software, and I'll get started as soon as this weekend, and we'll see how long it takes.
Now, I was looking at the GoFundMe, and it looks like it's just pretty much. Is it possible to donate in crypto on there, or is it just dollars?
Not yet. I'm working on it. I'm still trying to learn what I would need to do to accept crypto, but it probably wouldn't be on GoFundMe. It would probably be like the PayPal button. It'll be just on the archives page. It'll just be a button you can click on, or a key that you can use. So I'll get that figured out. I will strive to do that. Is there a particular crypto that you think most libertarians would prefer to use? I mean, is Bitcoin passé, or is it?
I don't know.
How much time you got?
Yeah, I know exactly. I started trying to read up on it, and I was hit by like 20 different cryptos.
Yeah. Well, I've got so much locked up in crypto that transferring it to dollars right now to do any donations just wouldn't be in my best interest. Let's just put it that way. Yes. But so that's why I haven't even that's what I wanted to ask you on this podcast too, is because I really want to donate, but I would only be able to do so in crypto.
Sure.
And I would donate personally in Bitcoin Cash. So
Bitcoin Cash. Okay, I'll make a note of that. So is that different from Bitcoin, or is it the same organization?
They forked off, so it's different, and they forked off because of I pretty much put it this way, because economically something can't be a store of value alone. It must have a use case for it to be a medium of exchange. So and I wrote an article on Agorist Nexus. It's called "The Properties of Money and Cryptocurrency." If anyone wants to,
I'll check that out.
Check out the article. But anyways, so like the high fees and the second layer, so-called scaling solutions that they're implementing have really slowed down Bitcoin. So With that said, I think that I just think that with the 7 properties of money, when you put all of those into either Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin Cash is really the true winner with those 7 properties. And I wrote that article because of Mike Maloney. You're probably familiar with Mike Maloney, but I'm a huge fan of Mike Maloney too, and he goes into like his I forget what his video stuff is, but it's like the hidden secrets of money, I think it's called. And I pretty much took what he says in the hidden secrets of money, and I apply it to crypto, which he didn't do, which I felt like needed to be written. Anyways, that's my little rant there.
Yeah, I checked out, there was a button on my PayPal account and it said crypto. So I go, oh, cool. So I click on it and it says, you can use PayPal to invest in Bitcoin. Okay. And, one of the frequently asked questions was, can I use it to buy or send money? And they said, no, you can just use your PayPal to, convert your PayPal money into Bitcoin and then convert it back. And okay, well, that's useless.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
obviously they have plans, but they haven't fulfilled their plans yet.
And they can't. Well, and you won't be able to remove any crypto off of their platform. So, it's a custodial wallet.
Yeah.
And I only like non-custodial. I like to hold my own keys because it's like the rule of crypto is like not your keys, not your crypto. So
yeah,
kind of defeats the point when somebody else is holding your keys for you.
Yeah, it seemed pretty useless to me.
Yeah, PayPal is useless.
Yeah.
in that regard. So man, you must have like a treasure trove of Agorist stuff. I just want to go over there and help you and just look at all this stuff in amazement. But you've got
rifle
like
through it.
Yeah, right. You've got like all the you must have a bunch of like the new libertarian newsletters and stuff. And
yeah, I've got just about the most complete set. There's one volume of his first magazines or whatever, they were 4-pagers that he did at the University of Wisconsin, I think, was called Laissez-Faire, and there are 5 issues of them, and I've got the front page and I think the back page maybe of a copy of a scan of a Xerox, of a bad Xerox that a guy named Don Mineshausen sent me. He was friends with Sam even earlier, and I presume he has those issues, but he donated all of his papers to Stanford, to the Hoover Institute collection, and they have it, and I haven't been able to travel up to Palo Alto and ask for permission to go in and look at them and bring a secret camera. So that's where they possibly reside. But I've had a bounty out for them on the CoPubCo website for 10 years, and no one's wanted to collect $10 for a scan or $50 for the actual issue. So yeah, I'm sure I'll come across them eventually, but right now I've got so much more to scan in. Now, a lot of the issues of New Libertarian are on the archives right now. Some are good scans, some are eh. I sort of messed up the New Libertarian weekly scans, apparently converting them to PDF as I'm scanning them created problems. So, and I only did it half the time. So half of them have searchable text, and the other half are just images. So the goal, the plan here, and I put out the 5 phases or the 4 phases of the work. The first phase is going to be scanning everything in. The second phase will be categorizing everything. So, taking people by name who have written letters to Sam and put them in one folder, their own folder each, and then categorize the actual physical copies in the same physical folders. And then phase 3 will be converting them to taking the images and converting the images to or doing OCR on the images so that you'll have the pristine actual image of the page and the text, but you're not going to have Acrobat try to create a new page that is laid out and is text and everything like that. And because of Sam's crazy layout on a lot of issues, Acrobat freaks out and has lines pasted over other lines, and it came out looking not too bad, but somebody called it to my attention that there were lines of text that crossed over borders of other blocks of text. So I would prefer to have just an image and then an underlying text. And then phase 4 is doing the videos. And so that's the videos and the audios. So those are the various stages, and I gave estimates of several months for each of those phases. So by the end of the year, I ought to have everything up and running. And do either of you have any familiarity with GoFundMe?
I've used it, yeah.
I've never used it. I've used some other stuff.
Have you? I know that I've been looking at the various fundraisers, and a lot of them are, of course, for people who have been ill or have suffered a disaster or something. So my situation is kind of unique, where I'm trying to do this work, but in order to do the work, I have to forego doing other work. Basically. What do they call it? Opportunity cost. There's an opportunity cost to doing this. And I don't know if you've encountered anyone who takes a portion of the money raised for living expenses while they're doing something like creating a book or creating artwork or working on a new dance. And my wife doesn't think I should ask for donations for living expenses while I'm doing this, but I see it as a legitimate thing, because I'm foregoing employment at a much higher pay scale in order to do this, for what I would consider like, a reasonable amount would be $10 an hour for the drone work of standing at the scanner. So how do you guys feel about that from a libertarian standpoint?
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I mean, time is very valuable, and there's a lot of to my knowledge, there's a lot too. You have a lot in there, and yeah, it's if the community can help out to get priceless knowledge, I think that it's a no-brainer.
Well, this is how I worded it in my upcoming update. If I decide to put this up here, I list all the physical equipment and software that I would need to get, and repairs to Sam's PowerBooks, so that we can actually get to his PowerBook 150. The screen, is one of the earliest liquid crystal screens, and it's just turned into this blob of light when you turn it on. So I'd have to repair that. But after I list all that, then I say, and finally my time Counter-economics is founded upon the Austrian economics of Ludwig von Mises and Murray Rothbard, which includes such concepts as subjective value, opportunity cost, and division of labor. By offering to do this, so you won't have to, equals division of labor, and devoting the major portion of each day to it, I am foregoing other gainful employment, equals opportunity cost, because I believe so deeply in preserving these documents, equals subjective value, that I'm willing to take a year from income-producing activity. As a level 4 web app developer, I was earning over $50 an hour before I was laid off. Scanning and proofreading, though, are mind-numbing drone work, so I will value this time accordingly at a modest $10 an hour. I hope that this reasonable compensation for preserving the Agorist archives of Samuel Edward Konkin III, oh, that's a sentence fragment, isn't it? Well, I'll have to fix that. But but obviously I'm not going to charge for actually managing. For the time I spend managing the fundraiser is just that is how I raise the money to do the actual work.
Yeah,
I mean, you should also be rewarded for this too. I mean, it's not just lots of opportunity. I mean, people need to be rewarded for their good deeds and
yeah, for sure. And I mean, as long as you're upfront about that, you know what I mean? I mean, if you're upfront about that, then yeah, I mean, no issue whatsoever. I get it though, with because a lot of people on GoFundMe are, I get standing next to somebody who has cancer and asking for money and for that, and then you being asking for money, you know what I mean, for something.
Yes.
I mean, however you look at it, not as serious or whatever.
Yeah. It's obviously a touchy subject. So, but I'm glad. Thank you for your feedback on that.
Yeah. There are a lot of other platforms and stuff other than GoFundMe. It's just the best known one. I can't off the top of my head think of one that would be better for your situation. I've used that one called Kiva before. It's like a loan. It's like interest-free loan, and I really like that one because it's not asking for anything. But obviously, in your situation, that doesn't solve your problem of want to be compensated for your time, which is totally fair. So I think as long as you're upfront about it, though, it's just fine, man. I don't see any moral issue with it or whatever.
Okay,
but
great.
I get the. Yeah, I get the I get the question though, for sure.
Well, you were the first to hear that paragraph of mine, so I'll be posting it probably later today.
All right, guys, we got to take a break real quick and give a big shout out to our sponsors, Devault Cryptocurrency, ticker symbol DVT. Really excellent coin, a lot of cool features, working on privacy with Terraform. And what else they got going on over there, Brandon?
They're coming out with DeFi, and it's a proof of work coin, but you can stake it. And you're like, well, what does that even mean? Basically, you stake it, and you get it's like think of it as interest, right? Like how a bank would do it, except it's not a bank. You hold it, nobody can touch it, and you're getting interest off of it, which is great. And it's super easy. You would think this would be complicated. It's super easy. You can stake. It took me 2 seconds, and even my grandma could figure that out. So I was super impressed with the innovations on this coin, with how super easy it was to stake it and get interest from it. And yeah, with such a small cap coin, their team is so innovative. We definitely could see great things coming out of this coin. So check it out. Not financial advice, but they're definitely worth looking at. So yeah. With that said, we'll get on with it.
Yeah, I mean, there are definitely people who expect. I've even heard definitely the Liberty movement. People being like, "Oh, why are you charging for this or that? You should do. It's for the greater good. to use that term, that, you do this stuff. And it's like, well, that might be true. And like for a lot, like maybe people don't want to charge for this, but like you said, it's the opportunity cost. I can either write books about liberty, or I can go work a job that's not going to help anybody. And in order to make that, in order to make that happen, I need money. So it's, there's nothing wrong with that, yeah, for sure. But it's very common. Some people do get really upset about it, but I don't get it.
A guy's got to eat if he's gonna be sitting there scanning stuff for a year. We gotta feed Koman, guys. Come on.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. I mean, the fact that I'm going to be making all of this available at no cost to people once it's up there, I hope is proof of my sincerity here. I don't plan to, charge subscriptions for people to come to the website and examine this stuff. So I hope that's not.
I feel like this kind of thing. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I hope I'm not shooting myself in the foot economically if the traffic becomes so big on it that I start getting charged by my hosting site for excess traffic. But I guess that would be the subject of another fundraiser. Anyway, I think what.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll support
it's not
that
a bad
one
problem
too.
to have, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure at that point you just get like a Patreon or something similar, you know what I mean, to fund the ongoing things. I'm sure you can find some people to donate to that. So it seems like this kind of thing has the whole archiving old stuff, and not just in the libertarian vein here, but like in everything, I really feel like it's been a big thing recently. I've actually heard of people who like their job is to take like old like B movies that are only ever on VHS and like rip them and save them and archive them, and like everything, just like old TV commercials and just all sorts of stuff. So I really feel like this is going to be a big, and it's because it's one of those things. It's like, once stuff's gone, it's gone. And I mean, sometimes I just shudder to think about all the cool shit in this world that has just been lost to a fire or just in a trunk in somebody's attic, and they had no clue what they had and they just threw it away. Yeah. There's just so much of that. So doing this is really great. And I mean, there's not much of Konkin's work that's actually like, like out there, like in print or anything, right? I mean, there's like 3 or 4 books and some snippets here and there, and that's about it.
Yeah, I've been selling back issues of his magazines or photocopies when I run out of the originals, and there's some market for it, but it's not exactly rip roaring. But I think if the same things were available online, a lot more people would have the opportunity to view them and get his word out there.
I mean, at least that way they have the opportunity. So if it's just gone, there's no opportunity. So.
And there's a lot of stuff that he posted on the left libertarian list, which was like a what do they call them? The mail list or list server. I don't know, listserv. That's it. In the 90s and early 2000s, that even I haven't had a chance to look at, but I think he saved every one of them. So that should be a rich, because that's people going back and forth and debating things, and you can see where certain other probably now big name libertarians got their start arguing with Sam and debating issues of the day. So getting that into a readable form, and his emails. I mean, he liked writing to people. So once the email came around, he became even more prolific because he didn't have to slam it into an envelope and mail it. So I've got his printed letters, typed letters, and then in the 80s he started writing his letters on the Mac and mailing them, and then when the World Wide Web came about, he started emailing. Actually, he started emailing a little bit more earlier, pre-96, like 91, 92, I guess. But all of that has yet to be plumbed. and that would be part of the process that I would be doing. Maybe that's phase 5. I called phase 4 when you can't scream anymore, which was the tagline of a movie called Phase 4 years ago. So.
Do you think there's access to like his old like email accounts and everything, or do you think that's?
No, I think those are probably long dead. But as I said, I think he used a email software called Eudora, and I think he set it up to keep the emails on his laptop. So instead of being on the Eudora server, they were downloaded to him whenever, automatically whenever he received an email or sent an email. So there's a lot of stuff to search, and he enjoyed using comic book icons for both folder images, folder icons, and for file icons. So I could be looking at something and not know whether it's a file or a folder. So I have to click on each one,
Right.
and I get the distinct feeling that the 4 missing chapters of Counter Economics are somewhere on one of the laptops that I have, or somewhere on one of his backup DVD data disks, and I'm just not understanding what I'm seeing. So he was playful with his names of his files. So that's another spelunking challenge that I'll be taking when I get into this. So that's also the time that donors will be paying for, is my time trying to figure out, make sense of his filing system.
That's a trip.
Yeah.
Can you give us an example of one of the names of a file, or?
Yeah, hold on just a second. I downloaded some of the data DVDs to my desktop here. So let's see. Where would I find it? So from Sam's backups. So he called one of his drives Paladin. There's the Eudora drive. So he had mail. I see a mail folder, 1999, 2000, 2001. Some of the things like there's something called HH. Got no idea. Was he a fan of Hubert Humphrey, Hugh Hefner? I don't know. So it's just stuff that's personal to him, and I just have to, because I know him, I have to figure out what he means by it all. Saberpunk. What does that mean? SABER punk. I don't know. He was also a Dungeons and Dragons guy, so some of these things have role-playing names in them, and so anyway, that's what I'll be digging through. But that, I think, that can come later. Saving the actual physical letters and digitizing them is slightly more important than the stuff that's on disks and can be replicated onto backup drives and stuff like that. So that's what I'll be doing.
That's great.
Who did like the art and stuff in these New Libertarian weeklies?
We had several artists. One was Sandy McIntosh. She did the New Libertarian number 2, I think, which was a heroic libertarian woman fighting the Coctopus, the Charles Koch empire of, when he was donating to every libertarian organization, seemingly, and Sam warned against the threat of monocentrism in the movement. She also did the 2 New Libertarians that were sort of mirror images of each other, which was parts 1 and part 2 of the natural rights debate. And I think that was like New Libertarian 13 and New Libertarian 15. And then for New Libertarian 14, we had Happiness is a Dead Yuppie by a different artist. And let's see if I can figure out who that was. So we've had numerous ones. Let's see, Dead Yuppie. James Reed. Okay, so and we've also had artists who did comic strips for us in the New Libertarian Weekly. We had comic strips by Jeff Grisham and others. And I think James Reed also had a comic strip, and another artist named Steve Martin, no relation to Steve Martin, the comedian, did some comic strips. So we had people come and go. One of our best looking covers, I thought, was for one of our revisionism issues, was by an artist named Seema Shore. This was Revisionism 4, The War to Come, and that was New Libertarian number 11. And so we've had some good stuff. We've had photographic covers, some of which I took the photographs for, and it's been a lot of people contributing to the movement.
Yeah, they're really cool. It's almost like, it probably is. Jesus, from the 70s, and you all a bunch of science fiction writers. But I was like, yeah, it just reminds me of like 70s science fiction. Some of these drawings and stuff. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, well, it was. We were science fiction, libertarian science fiction fans of the 1970s. The funny part of that is when Sam started New Libertarian, he purposely wanted to have libertarian content and science fiction content, because he, shall we say, optimistically thought, well, there are science fiction fans and there are libertarian fans, and if I have both, I'll get all the libertarians and I'll get all the science fiction fans to subscribe to the magazine. Well, of course, the answer to this. What he got was only science fiction fans who were libertarians, because a lot of the liberal science fiction fans were turned off by the libertarianism, and a lot of the libertarians were looking at it going, why is all this science fiction crap in here? So but he stuck with that format to the very end.
He had an even smaller niche, but
yes.
What's great about these archives is that if you can get them out there, I just think it's going to spark all these new ideas, and I don't even think we'll be able to see or know all of the good that these can do, but man, I don't know, I just want to see them, and yeah, I want you to be fed while you're doing it. So, I guess I don't know. I just let me see here. I was looking at this new Libertarian Weekly, and it says, "Is Carl Hess a collaborator?" And I can't see. I can't. Do you know which issue I'm talking about?
Yeah, that I put that up there. Especially, yeah, he liked provocative headlines. I mean, when Robert Anton Wilson's daughter was murdered in a holdup, and Robert Anton Wilson had her brain cryonically preserved at Alcor, I think it was, probably the only one around at the time, with Wilson's approval. He ran the headline "Libertarian Freezes Brain of Daughter." This big headline, and a lot of people were offended by that. But he knew the importance of getting people to read the articles and a good headline. So
clickbait isn't new, huh?
yeah. Yeah. So yeah, my goal is to get all this out there. There's going to be the first phase, though, because I'm going to be concentrating mostly on scanning. Is probably going to be, I'm going to have very limited interaction with anyone at that time, because just of the sheer workload involved, and I will do what I can to keep the GoFundMe donors updated, and probably with a count of how many pages I scanned in, but nothing is going to be placed up there unless I find something that's really cool. Like I found a letter from Murray Rothbard to another libertarian, telling him, no, there's absolutely no, I've known Sam Konkin for years, and he's definitely not a racist, and he's definitely not a bigot, and he's definitely not whatever Sam was being accused of. So it's stuff like that that I might put up there every now and then to let people know that I'm finding some gems. Hello?
Yeah.
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 This is a.
Did I lose you on the racist thing?
No. I'm sorry, I got hung up. I'm reading this. It's like a Lysander Spooner coin that they're selling in one of these issues.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I saw the gold one. It's a little over an ounce. It's $175. It's like, oh man, those are the days.
Yeah, those were the days, weren't they? those long gone days.
I wouldn't mind some Lysander Spooner coins.
Yeah, I got this.
Sorry, I'm just really enjoying these things, dude.
Yeah, I have the silver one. Maybe at some point I'll take a photograph of it and put it up there, because the sketch was really awful on that page, but it came out looking pretty nice.
Yeah, I was trying to read the little comic there that goes along with it, and I was having a hard time, but I'm sure I could blow it up. I should be doing that at a different time.
Yeah.
What was Konkin's did he say or write anything about his thoughts on some of Spooner's work?
He liked Spooner. I think he's recommended to. I mean, he admired Spooner's American Letter Mail Company. Basically competing with the post office and getting busted for illegal transport of the mail. I think he was a big Spooner fan. I don't know how much he wrote about it, but once we get the archives up there, you can search on it and find out every instance of Spooner mentioned in our pages.
Yeah, I think if I remember right, I think he might not have mentioned them in his counter economics book, but it's been a while since I've read that. But yeah, he might have mentioned them in there. I just can't think of it. And that's a great book too, if anyone wants to check it out. That usually people get hung up on New Libertarian Manifesto, and New Libertarian Manifesto is great, but Agorist Primer and counter economics and even class theory, they're all just really, really good. Well, he didn't write class theory.
No, he didn't, but it works. Libertarian class theory, it works pretty well. Yeah, and you've stated the order in which they were written. First he wrote New Libertarian Manifesto, and then he wrote Agorist Primer while he was working on counter economics. Now, he'd been working on counter economics for several years, and when we formed the Agorist Institute, I guess Agorist Primer is technically like the third of the three, because he was trying to market counter economics and was getting rejections, and he was very proud of publishers who wrote back to his agent and said, this is the most horrible what did they call it? They just called it like terrifying libertarian. They obviously New York liberal publishers were scared of what he was advocating, and he found that was quite satisfying, perhaps not financially, but psychologically.
At $1 for every time someone used the word crackpot.
Yes.
Oh man.
I'm going to have to be going in a few minutes, so
sure.
Any
I don't
further?
have much else. You got anything else, Brandon?
No, I'm pretty much out of. You pretty much answered all my questions, so.
Okay.
Yeah, we definitely wanted to get you on here so you could you could pitch it, and we could promote the GoFundMe and everything. So hopefully we can be of assistance getting some funding.
Well, yeah, I appreciate it, and I'll definitely work on the crypto angle, and we'll see what I can come up with. And aside from that, just keep an eye on the GoFundMe site or my Twitter feed or my Facebook page, and I'll try to keep those up to date. And we'll see where it goes.
If you need any help with the on the crypto side or anything, feel free to holler at us, man. We could bounce some ideas off of us and see what we can come up with.
Okay. I hope I can handle it. You think a PhD in IT should be able to handle something like crypto, so and not be totally baffled by it. But
well, you never know what you may come across in crypto, especially if you're new to it. There's things where you're like, I don't know if I should do that, and sometimes those gut instincts are good too. So, oh, there's one more question. Like, what if somebody what if I because my family lives in California, like, what if I wanted to fly out there and like help you scan stuff? Or, I mean, would you take free labor? Or,
well, there's only one scanner, so
take a break and eat, Victor. I got this.
No, I appreciate that, but I've always been a bit of a loner, so I work best when I'm just locked in my room. So, but I appreciate that. And it's I'm working in a house, or in home, so it's a little more cramped in here. But I appreciate that. We'll see if I find myself drowning, I may call out for help. But I think with my experience with doing that first box of letters last summer, I think I know what I need to do, and it's just a matter of being able to survive while I do it full time, because that was a part-time thing, and it took a while. But I think I'm playing efficiency expert there, and I was timing myself, and it's like 3.5 minutes from opening the scanner, pulling out the old copy, laying down the new copy for the ones that have to be copied like that. I mean, I do have a feeder, but for the ones that had to be laid out carefully, it was about 3.5 to 4 minutes per sheet. So we can calculate out how much productivity I could have in a day. And then for the automatic document feeder, because I was scanning them in at high resolution of 1200 DPI, it worked out to be about 90 seconds per sheet, just sort of chugging through there. And if it was a double-sided page, well, then it's got to suck it back and do it again a second time. So it's time consuming, but I'm trying to guarantee a good product that will survive the inevitable improvements in resolution that monitors and printers will have. So that's why I'm trying to keep it at 1200 DPI, and maybe even for things like photographs go higher. Actual, black and white or color photographs. So we'll see how it turns out.
Yeah, can't wait to see it.
Excellent.
Check out. Make sure you guys check out Agorist Acres.
Archives. Agorist Acres is a rest home for old counter economists.
Is it really?
Yeah, I wish. Maybe someday.
Oh.
Yeah, they've got they've got
shit.
cocaine for the old guys if they want
Yes,
it.
yes.
No, but I was trying to plug Agorist Acres too. This the seed company that they donate 10% of their they donate 10% to Agorist Nexus. So
that was okay.
but yeah,
I'm sorry. I thought you misread archives. I'm sorry. That's so Agorist.
Yeah, but donate to the archives too on GoFundMe. We'll have a link below, and if you guys need seeds or anything, go to Agorist Acres and
well, I will check that out. I've never heard of it, and now I have. That's great.
Yeah, it.
But now I really want to start that rest home, dude.
Yeah, I want to start the.
Yes, hospice care consists of LSD.
Going on a trip today, guys.
Yes.
So, with that, do we have a quote or anything to leave out on, Brandon?
Yeah, I got a quote. So we'll wrap it up here with every victim of statism has internalized the state to some degree. The IRS's annual proclamation that the income tax depends on voluntary compliance is ironically true. Should the taxpayers completely cut off the blood supply, the vampire state would helplessly perish. Its unpaid police and army deserting almost immediately, defanging the monster. Samuel Edward Conkin III.
Here.
Agorist Nexus out.